And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. This is caught. Diggs. Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable. Bryant for the win. Bang. Watch out. He's got getting away from the top speed.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another SGN video where it's awesome all the time. In today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new SGN Madden 24 online franchise league that we are attempting to get off the ground. People ask me this every year. Hey, are you going to do an online franchise? Or they ask me if I want to join one. And I always say no, because I've always had a huge concern about I can't control how other people are going to play the game, and it makes me very nervous because I don't want to go play an online franchise against other people who treat it like an arcade head-to-head online competitive environment, because that's not what it needs to be. It needs to be people trying to play realistic and playing like they would against the computer in franchise modes. So we're going to talk about the settings that I'm going to be incorporating in this online franchise so that you, if you are interested, will know if this is something that you are going to want to pursue, or if there's a setting that or house rule that I'm going to implement that you don't like, then you'll know this isn't for you. So let's go ahead and cover this. I'm going to try to make this be as short and sweet as possible. Now, because I'm using Madden 23 to demonstrate the commissioner tools, there are new ones in Madden 24, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, I'm just going to cover the existing commissioner tools from Madden 23, as well as house rules and things like that that I will be utilizing and implementing in the SGN online league if we are able to get it filled, which hopefully we are able to do that. Now, first thing first, right here at the team selection, I want to talk about the fact that we are going to be doing a full-on fantasy draft, because it's not fair for some players to get like a really good rated team and others to deal with a poorly rated team. That's just not fair. We're going to do a full-on fantasy draft, so literally you're going to be picking the team that you want to rock as far as jerseys is concerned, or stadium, whatever it may be. But as far as players, that's going to come later when we do a fantasy draft. Now, some things I can tell you without definitive detail is we are going to be basing the skill level off of all Madden, and we are going to stay on simulation game style. I will not go to competitive because we don't want what competitive brings to this. We are not trying to have stick skills be the absolute reason why someone wins. We want it to be team building, game planning, and execution. So all Madden simulation. I will be also creating user versus user sliders for this as well, so just keep that in mind. It's not going to be default all Madden. There will be user versus user sliders. However, everyone is going to be using the same sliders, so it's still an even playing field. Everything here is going to be standard. Yes. Salary cap's going to be on. Now, superstar abilities. If you haven't seen my video on this, you should watch it. Superstar abilities for this will be turned off. And this is simply because, as much as I like the idea of superstar abilities and zone abilities, and as much as I like the concept, because EA had to make so many of them arcade and included, I have to have this turned off. It has to be turned off. Now, had they just went the 2K route, or about 50% of their abilities route, and had it just be an improvement to their ratings, less likely, or improved throwing on the run, improved break tackle ability, whatever, right? But instead they made it an absolute, which is very arcade. You cannot throw an interception when you have this zone factor. You cannot fumble. You are immune from pressure. You will have perfect accuracy when throwing on the run. You'll have perfect accuracy when throwing to a receiver in the red zone who's going to want, like, just stupid, ridiculous arcade things. I'm not even going to argue it. This is just not a discussion. Superstar abilities will be off in this. So if you have to have abilities on, I'm sorry, this will not be for you. Relocation, we're going to have everyone can. I don't really care. If you want to take it and become a different team, I don't care, go for it. Now, staff talent cost modifier will be slower, just so that people aren't cruising through and building up their staff talents super fast and getting all those extra bonuses and buffs too early. Injuries will be on. Now, pre-existing injury, I'm still debating. I'm open to suggestion on this. I personally do not care if we go on or off. I think it's going to be a fantasy draft. So if we're already going to go fantasy draft, that pre-existing should be off, and we can utilize anyone who's in the NFL. That's just me, but I will take suggestions on this. Practice squad ceiling will be on. Career clock on. Progressive fatigue on. All this stuff will be on. Now, play call cooldown and play call limit. Play call cooldown, I'm going to leave it off. If you want to call a couple plays in a row, back to back to back, that's up to you, coach. However, there will be a play call limit. On defense, I'm thinking about 4. You can call the same play 4 times just because the defensive playbook isn't nearly as vast as the offensive playbook. And a lot of times you want to run just a cover 3. I mean, there's only so many formations you can run a cover 3 out of, right? So I don't think you should be penalized for that so much defensively. So I'm going to have that play call limit a little bit higher for the defensive side of the football. However, offensively, you got over 500 plays available at your disposal, and we all know people try to hunt out money plays, and there's always plays that work better or more effective consistently than others. And we are going to make sure that we reduce that from happening, especially if someone's able to find said place. So, offensively, you can call the same play 2 times in a game. 2 times. If you want to do it back to back, that's fine. But you get 2 times to call that play, and then you have to call something else. Which, again, with the amount of plays that are in the game, should not be a big deal. So anyway, that's what we're doing with plays to keep this realistic in simulation. Minimum roster size will be 51 as suggested. Player cut restrictions will be 90 overall as suggested. Everything else will be unlimited. Breakout scenarios will be off, so you're not playing an opponent and you're trying to get your running back 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. This should become he gets a dev trait breakout, because dev traits are obviously just going to literally impact their progression right now since they're not getting abilities. We don't need you to focus on that. Just go out there and try to execute a game plan and win the game. Who cares if that running back gets 100 yards and 3 touchdowns or 25 yards and no touchdowns? As long as you win, that's what matters. We're also going to tweak the dev trait management for balance as well, but this only impacts player progression, so they're not having abilities, so we'll get back to that on a later date. Clock management, quarter length, I'm shooting for 8 minutes with Excel clock on, 18 seconds remaining. This is what I'd like. I don't expect anyone to want to play the full 11 minutes accelerated clock off, so I'm really going for 7 or 8 minute quarters here to give people enough time to really enjoy the game, get into it, execute a game plan, make some comebacks, etc., etc. Everything else here is going to be full on manual. There's really no reason to not have it. Fill roster, of course, will be off. Just the standard normal stuff. Now, this is obviously going to be a private league, and the name and password, when created, will be given to those who want to join. It's that simple. Ballhawk, Heat Seeker. We're going to talk about those things here in a minute now, because there are a couple of house rules that are going to get incorporated. So let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to talk about some of the house rules and how we're going to actually make sure the house rules are being followed. So if we go over here in user settings, and we're going to go to visual feedback. So first house rule, if you've played my sliders against the CPU, this shouldn't be a surprise to you, but we're not going to have any user catching. Offensively or defensively, it overrides the ratings. We want the roster management team building to matter, not user stick skills. So everything on the field as far as visual feedback will be completely turned off. And although you can have these turned off and you can still technically use your catch, it will be noticeable because it overrides the ratings. So if you want to go ahead and be that person who has all this stuff turned off and user catch anyway to get yourself an advantage, guess what? We'll know. We can see it. And because mandatory, all games must be streamed to YouTube or Twitch, if someone logs a complaint saying, hey, so-and-so is doing this, doing that, breaking a house rule, myself and everyone else will be able to go in and look. Time-stamped gameplay. If we're not watching it live, we'll watch it later. And we'll be able to see. Now there's going to be a zero tolerance policy. So you break this one time, you're gone. So don't even like worry about it. Just out of sight, out of mind. We're not dealing with people trying to ruin this experience for everyone who wants to play by the rules. So house rule, no user catching, offensively or defensively. House rule, no user linebackering. Can't do it. Madden just lets them cover the field so much. There's a reason why pro comp players always rock a middle linebacker, and they don't actually do the pass rush, which is super fun. So playing on the D line, defensive tackle, edge rusher, whatever, that's what you're going to want to do. Now, switching. A lot of people talk about no switch rules. I'm only going to do a switch rule for pass plays. So on running plays, you can switch. On pass plays, if you're a defensive lineman and you're trying to pressure the quarterback and he throws it, you cannot switch until that pass has been completed. Obviously, if your defender makes a play, swats it, the pass is incomplete, it's dropped, whatever, you don't even have to switch. But if that wide receiver catches the ball, at that point in time, you can switch. Again, this is going to be something very easily seen in footage, and we'll know if you are abusing this or not. We just want to let the ratings play out. Now, you switching to somebody else to try to navigate through traffic and make a tackle, I don't really think that's a big deal, so we're going to allow that to happen. But again, if you're switching on defense, you're going to go up and try to, that's again, no user catching, so I don't really see the point why you'd want to do it anyway, other than to hit SWAT, but let that DB try to do that with his ratings anyway. So everything else here, we're gonna kind of leave. Zoom camera is gonna be another one we're gonna leave on so you can't see the whole field. Make passing a bit more difficult because it's already pretty easy anyway. The other one, skill-based passing. Unfortunately, the pass meter is way too easy, even the highest difficulty with low slider settings. So we have to go with pace placement only. I would love to have it be accuracy, but that meter's too easy. So there's really nothing that's going to separate you much as far as throwing from the pocket with a 95 overall quarterback and a 75 overall quarterback. Where you'd see some separation is throwing the runs, things like that. However, I don't think it's enough to make it viable. So we're just going to go straight placement. So you have control of where you want the football to go. It's going to be up to the quarterback's ratings if it actually goes where you want it to go. So yeah, no meter. Unfortunately, it's not challenging enough at the higher difficulties. And yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do there. These are the base settings for what we're going to do for the online franchise league. Hopefully enough of you guys are appreciative and understanding of what I'm trying to do with these settings, that you are on board and willing to give this a try, and we can get this league filled up. It honestly started pretty quickly. Like after I get the sliders knocked out, the settings are kind of mostly in place. So anyway, that's the video, guys. I just want to do a quick breakdown. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Message me in the Discord, in the thread, or reach out to me on Twitter. And if you're interested, if you think this is for you, definitely let me know so that I know to hold a spot out for you when this goes live. Anyway, guys, thank you for checking out the video. Hope this is something you want to do. Again, we have crossplay, so Xbox, PS5. As long as you're next gen, you can join. All right, guys, stay tuned to the next video. Peace.